everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we are going to be doing the commentary / analysis on episode 13 of Miraculous Ladybug season 4, Optigami. I know, we all clowned ourselves. Me included, me too. I hyped us all up with the video yesterday. I know, okay? However, before I go any further, if you haven't already seen the episode, I'm about to spoil the whole thing for you, so please check out the description box to find some links where you can watch with English subtitles. But in a few weeks, those links are going to expire, so if you're watching this in a couple of months from now or something like that, you'll have to wait until it gets put on something official, like Netflix or Disney+. So, this episode. I did like the episode, and if you just want my quick thoughts on it, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I did think it was a good episode. Did what I expect to happen? No. We all know that didn't happen. However, I did enjoy it, but I do feel there were a few missed opportunities in this episode, particularly where Adrianette was concerned. And as a result, I did kind of come away from the episode feeling like there was something missing, but I'm going to talk about that more when we get to the elevator scene. I like to do the analysis chronologically of things that happened in the episode. So yeah, 8 out of 10, still a good episode. I didn't hate the episode. Wasn't what I was expecting, but I still enjoyed the episode. But I feel like there were some missed opportunities in this episode, essentially. So by far, this is the best idea that Daddy Agrest and Natalie have had. I thought it was a really great idea. I don't really have anything else to say about it, with the creating an amok to spy on the kids and then get it to insert itself into Miraculous. So it was a great idea and it was really well executed in the show. I don't have any complaints about that. I thought it was great. However, when Alia and Marinette are in Marinette's bedroom, Alia's like, everyone's invited to this event, and they even like get a coach to go to the Style Queen magazine headquarters. Like, you feel like they're kind of going on a school trip, but we already knew this from the other trailers we've seen. Half the class isn't there, and it's just like, okay, isn't that a bit suspicious? And Marinette, even at the end of the episode, she doesn't click how suspicious that was, that they've invited all the Miraculous holders, like only half of the class, as well as Kagami and Luca. Why does no one question that? If everyone's invited, where's Rose, where's Julika, where's Milan, where's you know what I mean? Like, if everyone isn't invited, quite clearly. Like, do the others just not want to show up? Like, it just would have been less suspicious to bring the whole class. But yeah, it was just odd. Also, has Daddy Agrest also not realised that all these Miraculous holders are in his son's class, and he's also friends with the other two that aren't in their class? Like, he got some brain cells, he got some points on the brain side for coming up with this idea, like, well done, you're getting there. But is he just not seeing the obvious yet? I know it's obvious to us, but I just feel like if I was in this situation, if this situation was real, if I was Natalie, who seems to be smarter than Daddy Agrest, I'd be like, there's something going on here. You know? I don't know. Maybe that's just too intelligent for these characters, but I'd just be like, they're all in the same class, they're all friends with each other. Surely that means at the very least Ladybug has to be friends with them all, since she's the one giving out the Miraculouses. You know? No? Does that? Yeah. Also, speaking of inviting the whole class, I mean, I knew from the trailers that Lila wasn't there, but why wasn't Lila there? We all know that Hawkmoth likes to use her, so why wasn't she invited to this, either as part of Adrian's cohort or by Daddy Agrest himself? Particularly as Lila is meant to be like Gabriel's like new muse, as we saw in the episode Ladybug in season 3, so why wasn't she there? I get this episode, if she'd been in it, they tend to be more focused on Lila, on what she's up to. But she could have helped with this, and she is quite clearly on Hawk Daddy's side. Yeah, it was just odd that the rest of the class weren't there. I guess Lila being there could have caused some unnecessary drama that wouldn't have fit in with the timings, because obviously they've only got 20 minutes to play with. I get that completely, with time restraints and things like that. But yeah, I was a little bit odd that she wasn't helping out with this, but again, this wasn't directly tied to Marinette, so maybe she doesn't care. I also absolutely loved the Kwame interaction in Marinette's bedroom. I was dying to see that in Mr. Pigeon 72, and it didn't really happen. So I was really happy to see Alia interact with all of the Kwamis, both in this first scene and later on when she goes back to get the Miraculouses. And just moving on slightly, Kagami and Adrian. We all know they've broken up, but it wasn't just a breakup, it was a falling out because of what happened. They like pretty much fell out with each other. But first of all, she gets invited to this thing to essentially support Adrian, and second of all, she also protects him. Whilst that could probably speak to how nice of a person she's maybe becoming, that's a different thing entirely. But why would she want to protect Adrian, you know? But you know, why would she want to protect Adrian after what happened? If I was in this situation, if Adrian had treated me the way he had treated Kagami in that episode, even though I do feel like it was unintentional, he didn't mean to hurt her the way she did mean to hurt him at the end, I'm not sure I'd want to protect him. Maybe she's a better person than me, she probably is. Most people in the show are better people than me. But I was just like, why? Why bother? Because I wouldn't bother. I thought Shadow Daddy, when he waltzed into that bathroom, it was just so elegant. It was art in motion, it was beautiful, just the way he walked in. If you missed that part, just go back and watch as he enters the bathroom. It was perfection, just beautiful. Oh, I loved it, it was amazing. And Senti Alec was also hilarious. I don't think Alec has been akumatized yet. He's been like loads of people's minions and also now a Scenti Monster, but I don't think he's been akumatized yet, so hopefully we'll get to see it this season, I don't know. He was absolutely hilarious, and as someone who follows fashion, although we could argue about how fashionable I am today, but as someone who follows fashion, it was made funny by the fact that Audrey's character design is based off Anna Wintour. If you don't know who Anna Wintour is, she is the editor-in-chief of Vogue. She is the person who gets to decide who goes to the Met Gala, where all the celebrities dress up in like more extravagant outfits. And also, if you've seen the film The Devil Wears Prada, that is who Meryl Streep's character is based on. I'll put a picture of her on the screen next to Audrey. You can see the similarities in their character design, particularly with their hair and with their glasses, so I thought that was hilarious. Although I highly doubt Anna Wintour will ever care, because when is she ever gonna watch Miraculous Ladybug? Probably never. Now let's talk about Natalie, who had about 0% chill taking out all of these kids, especially Lucas. Like, Lucas was ruthless, to be honest. Like, Kim's and Max is fair enough, Kagami fair enough, Chloe and also Zoe at the same time. You can always count on Chloe to be horrible. Like, those were like okay, but like Lucas taking out was absolutely ruthless. Like, she did not care. He was crawling through a vent trying to help someone, I think it was Wayhem, and she was just like, nope, deactivated, he's gone. I was like, okay, Natalie, calm down. And one last thing before we get onto the elevator scene properly, because I really want to focus on Adrianette in the context of that scene, but I was a bit confused as to why the Kwamis could be heard through the phone, because Kwamis can't be seen by technology, so I had assumed you wouldn't be able to hear them through technology. So what I assumed it was going to happen is that it would be a one-sided conversation with Marinette, where she would literally just tell them what to do and they couldn't talk back and ask questions. She would have to tell them, or I thought she was going to text them and they could text back, because they can touch technology, they can interact with it, they just can't appear on it. So I was a bit confused as to why their voices could be heard through it, but not their faces. So now let's talk about the elevator scene, and when I say the elevator scene, I'm like grouping them all together as if they happened all at once. I know there are other scenes inserted in between them. So overall, I thought it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to sound mean. Like, if you didn't know, I am a professional writer, but my speciality is novel writing, not script writing, although I do have a master's in script writing. I know how to do it, I've been trained to do it, I'm good at it, not to sound arrogant. My thing is novel writing, that's like my profession, that's what I get paid to do, that's what I was trained to do. I have a published book, that's my thing. And even though I was 99% sure that the identity reveal wasn't going to happen, like, don't get me wrong, I wanted it to happen, but I was like, it won't happen, they won't do it. Even though I was aware of that, I was expecting some Adrianette, and by Adrianette I don't mean them confessing to each other, I mean them like interacting with each other. If you just look at some shots, I'll just fill the screen with it since the red scenes are kind of blurry, so just so it's clear for you. The majority of the time they are in the elevator together, they are nowhere near each other, and they also really don't talk to each other. The only real interaction they have is right at the start when they get locked in there and they're like, oh, Ladybug and Shat will come for us. Then when Rena arrives, and also when they spot Optigami. Other than that, they really do not talk to each other. And this shot from the end right before Rena comes in, the way these two are acting towards each other, it makes them look like they are strangers. Like, I have never, thankfully, ever been stuck in a lift or an elevator before, so I've never had to deal with this. But if I was stuck in there with a stranger, this is exactly how I'd be acting. I probably wouldn't talk to them much other than to check that they were okay. But if I was stuck in there with one of my friends, like Adrian and Marinette are meant to be friends. If I was stuck in there with one of my friends, I don't know, I'd at the very least be talking to them and acting like I, you know, didn't mind being stuck in there with them. So we know they are friends, they are meant to be friends, they are not absolute strangers, and they also don't hate each other, they like each other, we know they like each other. And they're just gonna stand around and essentially ignore each other. That's what they were doing, they were kind of ignoring each other. And okay, yeah, we can argue Marinette was far too shy to talk to Adrian. She didn't even want to get in the elevator with him before, and there were 3 other people in there with him. She just didn't want to do that, so okay, maybe she was too shy. But Adrian isn't shy, and just after Guilt Trip and after Mr. Pigeon 72, like, just to me, whether or not he accepts it or not, Adrian was quite clearly falling for Marinette, and now he's just gonna ignore it. That's not Adrian's love language. Adrian's love language is talking to them and letting them know how he feels. So it's just... yeah, and I was expecting, first of all, I was expecting some interaction between them. Like, they're in a confined space together, no one else is there. They didn't talk to each other. Great, okay. But then, second of all, we all know Adrian has a fear of confined spaces. We saw it in Sandboy and we saw it in Riposte. Why wasn't he... okay, not that I wanted him to be scared, but if he had been a little anxious about being in this confined space, he could have told Marinette and then she could have comforted him and it could have been so nice and tender. No, I wouldn't expect Marinette to confess her love to him in that moment, but it would have been some progression. I just kind of, this is going to sound really mean, I just kind of want to rewrite that elevator scene with Adrian getting a little bit scared and Marinette trying to comfort him before Rena arrives. I feel like the reason they may not have had more interaction in the elevator scene may have been due to time restraints. I get that they have a very strict amount of time that they have to stick to, there's no wiggle room for the timing of Miraculous, I get that completely, but I wouldn't have minded them cutting down on some of the scenes where we saw the other Miraculous holders get turned into gold glitter. I wouldn't have minded less of that, so we could have had more of Adrianette. They didn't even have like one solid conversation together in that elevator, nothing, they literally just ignored each other and it was just like, oh. Okay then. It sounds mean, like I want to rewrite it. I'm trying to think how I would feel if someone read my book and was like, I hated chapter 8, I'm gonna rewrite it. It sounds mean, so I kind of don't want to do it. But I was just like, that scene could have been so soft and tender between them. And no confession had to happen. They didn't even need to touch each other for it to be soft and tender. Like, she didn't need to give him a hug or anything like that. But I just feel like it was prime Adrianette's opportunity and they missed it. And I don't know why, to be honest, I'm not really sure. And again, coming back to the fact that no one is questioning all these people are in his son's class. When Style Queen gets to the elevator and she's like, I'm coming for you, but then Natalie uses Optigami to see who's in there, she's like, oh, it's Adrian and one of his classmates. Leave them alone, it's fine, they're not on our list. Fair enough, Shadow Daddy was protecting his son. Got it. Great job, you're doing a great job as a dad. He's doing a terrible job in my opinion. But like, why wasn't he questioning then that Adrian knows all the holders? That would have been a prime opportunity for him to question that. And he didn't. I don't know, I just think maybe it could add a bit of drama or tension into the show if he's like, weirdly, my son is friends with all the Miraculous holders. That is weird. So now let's talk about the Scenti Monster, and I thought it was a really cool idea. Again, the plot of this episode with Shadow Daddy's plan, it was really well executed. I thought it was a really good idea. However, this episode showed us that Scenti Monsters can indeed use Miraculouses. So previously in Ladybug, Natalie just created a Scenti Monster who already had the power of Ladybug. She didn't actually wear the Miraculous, but now we know confirmed if you are a Scenti Monster you can use Miraculous, it will still work. So that obviously is like 1 point towards Adrian being a Scenti Monster, because if he is one he would still be able to be Chat Noir. And also Waze didn't say anything about Nino maybe not being a Scenti Monster. However, Waze didn't say anything when the Miraculous was given to Nino, so maybe that was the show's way of possibly avoiding letting us know whether the Kwamis can detect whether someone is a Scenti Monster. I just feel like they'd be able to know. However, do I think Adrian is a Scenti Monster? No, I still think Aeon would have been able to tell in the New York special. She said he was human. And in Chat Blanc, he pretty much destroyed everything, so that would have included the object his amok was attached to. So unless the amok is on Adrian, which I highly doubt, I don't think it's on him, he should have died. So no, I still don't think Adrian was a Senti Monster, but it would have helped if we'd had some confirmation from Waze about whether or not he could have detected that Nino was a Senti Monster. Also, just back to the elevator for the final part of that section, it did not make any sense whatsoever. Why didn't Adrian question it that Rena couldn't take them both through to the rooftop? That didn't make any sense whatsoever. Why didn't he say anything? You can take more than one person through a portal. That did not make any sense whatsoever. Why didn't Adrian question why Marinette wasn't coming with them? Or when Rena left him on the rooftop, why wasn't he like, huh, I wonder why Marinette didn't come with me? You know? Like, there's no reason why Marinette couldn't have gone through as well. So I did think that was kind of odd, because I'm pretty sure you can fit more than one person through a portal at a time. So now let's talk about Lady B, and I just want to do a whole video on Lady B. I thought she looked amazing, especially her hair. Oh my god, her hair, absolutely loved it. Oh, she was so cute. I want that hair, although I don't think that hair is physically possible. Maybe the front bit with like the poof, but the back bit, the actual ponytail, I don't actually think that hair is actually physically possible in this world. And also from the back with the different coloured swirls. Oh my god, oh my god. It was beautiful, she was beautiful. Like, if Chat Noir had seen her as Lady B, he would have probably had an aneurysm or something. Oh my... She was wonderful, I loved it. Also briefly about the charm that Ladybug gave Audrey. She said in Queen Banana that you have to want the charm. Audrey wasn't even aware she's been given this charm. So does that work or not? I kind of keep wanting to make a video talking about how do the charms work, but every single time I'm about to make the video we get a new episode and then I'm no longer sure how the charms work. So I'm just like, what are the rules of this charm? Can someone please explain them to me, because I don't understand. I thought the high five thing between Nino and Alia being the reason that Marinette worked out that Nino wasn't Nino was a really clever idea. I thought that was great. And I did see some comments last night about how a lot of people thought it was a bit far-fetched that Ladybug managed to work out Hawkmoth's plan. And I mean, to be fair, I don't think she was fully aware of what he was doing until right at the end, but I don't think it was that far-fetched, because to me, as Ladybug anyway, and also as Marinette, she is fairly intelligent. She's managed to foil a lot of his plans in the past. Like, one of my favourite episodes, The Dark Owl, she does something similar, and I think in that episode she says she has plans A all the way to plan, well, she says plan Z because she's American, we say plan Z. The Z, less a Z. But like, she is clever and she does think of a lot of different ways to take him down. I don't think it was that far-fetched personally, but you might disagree with me. So now we get to the end of the episode with the final scene, or I guess kind of the final scene, in Marinette's bedroom. So the first thing she said was like, we all need to learn from our mistakes, which, yep, great message for kids. This is a kid's show at the end of the day. But then she also said something along the lines of, this isn't the verbatim quote, something along the lines of, if something bad happens, I'm gonna need someone to replace me. I didn't know if that meant, because it was kind of ambiguous, I didn't know if that meant that one day Alia was going to be the Guardian. Alia one day might have to use a Ladybug Miraculous, or maybe just in general one day Alia would be in charge, even if she wasn't the Guardian or using the Ladybug Miraculous. So I did think that was interesting, and maybe it was hinting at Marinette getting akumatized finally this season, but in order for that to happen she would have to take her earrings out first, otherwise she would get caught straight away. So I wonder maybe what scenario she would be in where she'd have to take her earrings out again. Are her and Adrian gonna do another photo shoot like in Reflect All where they have to take their earrings out? I don't know, maybe. And then of course Marinette gives Alia the Fox Miraculous permanently. And I don't hate the idea. I love Alia, I love Rena Rouge. I don't hate it in the slightest. Although I am worried about this. Although I am worried about Chat's dwindling screen time, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And if Rena is there all the time, what effect is that going to have? Is she just... Like it wasn't made clear in the episode if she was giving Alia the Miraculous to keep permanently so she could come and fight every Akuma attack, or if she was giving Alia the Miraculous to help out when Ladybug was desperate in an emergency. She could just ring her and she wouldn't have to bother giving her the Miraculous and waste time. It wasn't quite clear which of those scenarios, but I was like, Obviously it was the right decision in terms of the show because Bunnix didn't arrive and make them not do that. However, I don't think it was the right decision for Marinette to make. Like I said before, she is clever, she is smart, she usually manages to see through Hawkmoth's plans, and if she doesn't do it beforehand, she usually does it in the moment. So like, obviously Alia was specifically targeted in this episode with Nino being the Scenti Monster, so to me, it just seems like a really odd decision for Marinette to make, when Marinette is aware, and has been aware for some time now, that Shadow Daddy knows who Rena Rouge is. So why would you give her the Miraculous in the first place? Like, I can understand the argument for Marinette telling Alia her identity in that moment in Gang of Secrets. Marinette was desperate and she needed someone to talk to, someone on her side. I had no problem with that, even though, was it dangerous? Yes, of course it was dangerous, but like, it wasn't done out of selfishness, it was done because she needed help and Alia has shown to come through for her. However, I'm not sure it was the right decision because, as we saw in the final scene after the end card, Daddy Agreste and Natalie are now going to be targeting Alia, and we've already seen at least one, if not two, screenshots for episode 14. I'll put them on the screen. It has no name. There are no more release dates so far after this. I have no idea when the next episode is coming out. But it definitely seems they're going to target Nino in episode 14 in order to get to Alia. I'm not really sure what like the cause of Nino's akumatization in that episode is going to be, assuming Nino gets akumatized in that episode. But maybe it's because Alia is lying to him. Maybe she hasn't told him she has the Miraculous permanently, and just again in general, it's also dangerous for Alia to have the Miraculous because, you know, I'm sure Daddy Agreste could find out where she lived. He could literally break in and steal it while she was asleep or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's not safe for someone whose identity is known to have the Miraculous. It's not safe in the slightest. So Alia is definitely going to be in danger for the rest of the season, if not the rest of the entire show, since not only does she know Ladybug's identity, but she also has her Miraculous permanently. So I have said in all my videos on Optigami prior to this, when I was speculating about what was going to happen, that I was expecting something big to happen, and don't get me wrong, this is kind of a big thing. No one else has been given a Miraculous permanently since Ladybug and Chat Noir. It is somewhat big, but in terms of the episode, it wasn't actually big just because it happened right at the end, and it has big implications for the rest of the show, but not in this episode, if that makes sense. So I was expecting, I guess, a bit more plot development, but I guess we're going to get it in future episodes. Maybe episode 14, maybe later on, maybe this is a setup for the finale of the season. I could definitely see that happening. But I was just like, that was another thing that let me down on this episode. I felt we were missing a bit of Adrianette, and I also felt we were missing some more major plot development, but I guess this is definitely going to go somewhere in the long run. So was I expecting the identity reveal in this episode? No, not really. Did I want it to happen? Yes, of course. I literally want the identity reveal to happen in every single episode. I get excited just in case, but Optigami, I felt there was something big gonna happen, even if not that, but I was a little bit let down by it, but I was trying not to let my feelings come into play a bit more. So I did feel kind of let down slightly by this episode because I was expecting some bigger plot development as well as maybe some more Adrianette, and we didn't really get it. So yeah, like, this is quite obviously going to have implications later on in the show in terms of Alia and the Fox Miraculous, because Shadow Daddy and Natalie are well aware now that Alia is a very different kind of holder. Get that completely. But yeah, I just felt it was kind of missing from this episode. So as you may have noticed, I didn't really talk about Chat Noir in this episode, and that's because straight after this video I'm going to be filming another video that's going to go up later this week, which is going to be all about Chat Noir, because I feel like he was definitely left out of this episode, but as we know, he's been definitely left out of a lot of other episodes too. And as much as I dislike seeing that, because I absolutely love Chat Noir so much, I feel like it's being done for a reason. So I'm going to make another video straight after this one, and you'll see it later on the week, I think maybe like Thursday or something like that. So overall, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. And the reasons why it's not higher, because it was a good episode, it wasn't a bad episode, is I just feel there were some things missing from it. Like, after I watched this episode with the subtitles, I came away feeling feeling not completely fulfilled by the episode. I was like, there's something missing here. And the two things missing were some big plot development, although like we are gonna get some, but it just didn't really happen in this episode. It was just the start of where the plot is gonna go concerning Alia and Shadow Daddy. 100% get that. However, the other thing it was missing was Adrianette. Like, that elevator scene, I do feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. They barely spoke to each other in it, and like, they're in a confined space together alone. Perfect opportunity, and they didn't do it. So I was just like, okay. So it's been so long since we really had any major moves in the love square. Like, I know we got the second umbrella scene in Mr. Pigeon 72, and the way Adrian looked at Marinette and Guilt Trip, and because of all that I did feel like something was gonna happen. And it didn't. So yeah, 8 out of 10, just because I feel like there were some things missing from it, but I did still enjoy the episode. MVP of the episode, I feel like it should go to Alia. However, she also like was the one who nearly ruined Marinette's secret identity. So actually I feel like I'm gonna give MVP to Kalki. I thought Kalki was great, and also extremely cute with the way they say voyage. Loved it. I think Kalki's adorable. And the line of the episode goes to Sass, or Zaz, whatever you want to call them, when he said horses and rabbits had one common ancestor. Of course, because that makes sense. Thank you, Sass. So I'd love to know what you think of the episode, what you think the bigger implications this is going to be for Alia. She's definitely going to be a target now. She's definitely going to be in danger. And also let me know what you thought of the elevator scene. I feel like the whole episode was like resting on that elevator scene. And I just came away feeling extremely unfulfilled by it as someone who is a hard love square shipper. So I'd love to know what you think. Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? I feel like a lot of people were let down slightly by this episode, but it's just the nature of Miraculous. It's the reason why we all have trust issues, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!